Have you ever wondered how a land historically defined by immense wealth and mighty empires finds itself at such a profound modern crossroads? Well, today in this explainer, we're going to explore the Republic of Niger, which is a country of just incredible, staggering contrasts.
So here's the core mystery we're unpacking today. How exactly did a land of golden medieval empires become one of the world's most vulnerable nations? To really grasp what's happening there today, we need to understand how its deep history directly forged the challenges it's dealing with right now.
Here is our roadmap for today. First, the paradox of Niger. Second, empires of the Sahel. Third, the colonial interruption. Fourth, the weight of independence. And finally, a 21st century pivot.
Part 1. The Paradox of Niger.
Niger possesses just immense untapped potential. We're talking about rich uranium deposits in the Air Mountains, emerging oil fields in the Agadir Block, and a quarterly gold output of over 90 million. It is literally a gold mine. Yet the vulnerability is deep. The country grapples with an 80% illiteracy rate, severely underfunded health services, and a population where 90% rely heavily on traditional, rain-fed subsistence farming. It's a huge contradiction.
And compounding those economic hurdles is the environment itself. 1.4 million. That is the staggering number of hectares of arable land that Niger loses to desertification every single year. The capital, Niamey, is literally watching its cropland shrink as the desert just keeps encroaching.
Part 2. Empires of the Sahel.
To really understand how we got here, we have to travel back in time. The region of modern Niger was once home to 3 successive, highly organized kingdoms. Between the 9th and 13th centuries, the Kingdom of Ghana thrived on gold, salt, and ivory. Following them, the Mali Empire rose, famous for Mansa Musa. His 1324 pilgrimage to Mecca was so lavishly funded with gold that it temporarily crashed the economy of Cairo. Finally, by the 15th century, the mighty Songhai Empire reached its peak, conquering territory all the way from modern-day Nigeria to Senegal.
Now, these weren't just simple trade outposts, right? They were incredibly sophisticated cultural and intellectual hubs. You had Kumbi Saleh with its enormous earthen king's court. Timbuktu, founded around 1100, wasn't just famous for salt. It amassed an incredible 10,000 Arabic manuscripts detailing history, astronomy, and math. Gao served as a vital link between the desert and the fertile south, and Agadez, the mother of desert architecture, is still revered today for its enduring iron brick structures.
All of this medieval legacy left behind a beautifully diverse population. Today, Niger is heavily composed of the Hausa community at over 70%, along with the Zarma, Tuareg, Fulani, Kanuri, and several other distinct ethnic groups. They really form a rich cultural tapestry tied together by centuries of shared history.
Part 3. The colonial interruption.
A profound clash of systems followed when French forces arrived in the late 1890s. Pre-colonial societies were organized holistically by clans and tribes, relying on livestock and those extensive Saharan trade routes. But the French administration imposed an entirely new reality. They rolled out a minimal, letting-live policy using indirect rule, imposed completely artificial borders, and forced a shift toward export crops like groundnuts and cotton. And this just severely disrupted their traditional nomadic and agricultural ways of life.
The drawing of modern borders actively sowed discord. Historical records note that being severed from major economic hubs like Zinder made the very substructure of Niger's economy, well, debatable. It became an isolated, minimally funded territory that was largely neglected by the central colonial authority.
Part 4. The weight of independence.
9. When Niger finally gained independence in 1960, there were exactly 9 hospitals for a population of 1 million people. That meant 1 hospital for every 111,000 citizens. It's just a stark reminder of the crumbling infrastructure and severe neglect left behind by the colonial administration. The new nation was essentially starting from zero.
Because of that immense struggle to integrate diverse populations with virtually no resources, the post-independence decades were incredibly turbulent. Niger proclaimed independence in 1960 under President Hamani Diori. But then, by 1974, following a severe drought and food riots, General Sani Kountché took power in a military coup. It actually wasn't until 1993 that the first multi-party, pluralist democracy emerged, and then in 1999, a new civilian government signaled the start of the Fourth Republic. So it's really been a continuous cycle of economic crises and fluctuating governments. Fast forward to today, and the legacy of that historical neglect means everyday citizens are surviving incredible odds. Back in 2019, over 67% of children aged 0 to 18 were completely out of school. And as of 2018, only 54% of primary-age kids were enrolled. Combine that with 90% of the population relying on rain-fed agriculture while facing extreme climate vulnerability and projected declines in rainfall, it's a profound testament to the resilience of the Nigerian people. But those systemic challenges are just massive.
Which brings us to Part 5, a 21st century pivot.
Recently, the government has taken drastic steps to seize control of its natural wealth through a bold restructuring of the economy. First, they ordered multinational mining companies to simply cease operations and renegotiate contracts. Second, they banned uranium exports until new terms are reached. And third, they're shifting focus to capitalize on that immediate 90 million quarterly windfall from gold. It's a massive, assertive move to keep wealth within their own borders, and it is sending shockwaves through global energy and mineral markets.
At the exact same time, we're seeing a massive geopolitical shift. Historically, Niger's legacy partnerships with the global north and France were rooted in aid, military bases, and technical cooperation. But now? Niger is pivoting toward emerging alliances in the global south and east, including countries like China and Russia. They are actively seeking what they view as multipolar relationships focused on infrastructure development and mutual respect. This is a total realignment of their foreign policy.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. As Niger stands at this critical juncture, completely reshaping its economy and its international friendships, a really pivotal question remains. Will this 21st century pivot finally unlock the promise of its golden history, or will it deepen its modern paradox? What will be the ultimate outcome for its people? Thank you for joining me for this explainer. It is a complex, rapidly evolving story, and definitely one that's absolutely crucial to watch.